my PhD project, I found the work before is too mature. I can't find new things to do. So the first day I joined CTU back to 1984, am I correct? Oh, 84, I guess. 1984. Yeah, I did the interview before, and I asked Professor, really, it's not. You were in the panel.
You came I came one time.
Yeah,
Right.
But I'm talking about the day I came to interview. 84, yeah. And I asked Professor Lee, can you suggest me some research work to do? Because I have no new idea about my PhD work. And then Professor Lee replied me, what do you reply?
What do you say?
Professor Lee,
what do I suggest?
Yeah, can you suggest me some
I
research work?
suggest you to do the triangular tank.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So he assigned me a project to do antenna research. So I started to learn antenna from Professor Lee back to 1984. But it's a bit short when I came the first day to report my duty. That person told me I will be leaving within 1 month. So I just had only 1 month to learn antenna knowledge from Professor Lee. But fortunately, he guided me to this very exciting new area of printed antenna. And start from that year, I learned many new things, and we have a long-term collaboration
30 years.
for more than 30 years. And we have more than 100 joint papers over the years. And we have a very important co-author book on microstrip capture antenna, the first edition, and then the second edition, and we are going to write our third edition soon. Right? So this is my collaboration. So
you have used up my time.
I have put this book for until the 9 o'clock tonight. So I know most of you know Professor Lee, but I need to say something for those new students. Professor Lee is obtained the highest award in our antenna field, the John Klaus Antenna Award, back to 2009. He is probably the first Chinese people got this prestigious award. Before you are all the foreigners. So after that, some of us got this award.
Many.
And so most of us learn microstrip antenna based on Professor Lee's work. And after that, Professor Lee also has many contributions in the administration. He was department head of Sherwood University and then Dean of Engineering at Mississippi before he retired in 2011. Right? So after that, Professor Lee started to do some other more interesting things in antenna research. He wrote book reviews, right? Since 4 years ago, book reviews. Actually, I have a new book. You can write some book comment on that. Yeah, I will give you one.
Ask me to write a review.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you today.
He's not going to sell the review.
And in addition, Professor Lee has a YouTube channel to share the music, right?
On music.
On music, right?
Yeah.
Today, you are talking about some also very interesting thing about the education of the China engineering today.
Including
So the stage is not yours now.
Okay. Thank you very much, Professor Roth. So you have used what, 10 minutes? Okay, how do I move the slides? Yeah, right, so I hit tape, right? So let me try this. Okay. I'm Lê Khánh Quang. Even my friends don't know I have an alias of Big O. Big O is also, I have a story to tell how the alias of Big O contain some non-technical words. For example, one time I talked about leadership. That's not a technical term. And then another time I talk about classical music appreciation for engineers. Students thought I was crazy. And then 2 years ago, same month, 2023, I even had the audacity to tell the students that while they are still in college, they better develop injuries that is lifelong and will enable them to lead a enjoyable and meaningful retirement instead of a boring retirement. So I told the students that 2 years ago, and they all thought I was crazy because no professor would tell them something like that while they are still in college. Think about retirement. This time is crazy. Okay. So let's see. The abstract. Today, I'm going to give a non-technical talk again. I guess in Chinese, we should not know. And I'm going to talk about 3 pathbreakers of electronic engineering education in Hong Kong. They are Sir Charles Go, Professor Chen Jifan, Jifan Chen, and Director David John. Now, most faculty and students have heard of Charles Go, I'm sure, but few of them would heard about Chen Jifan or Dr. David John. I claim that I am the only living person who have worked under all 3. If I'm wrong, raise your hand. Anybody has worked under all 3 people? Nobody, right? So that's why I would like to pay tribute to these 3 pioneers who contribute a lot to electronic engineering education in Hong Kong in this talk. Okay, here's the outline. Preliminary remark, I guess that's what I'm doing now. Then I talk about Charles Go. Chinese name is Go Kwan. And then Professor Chen Jifan, Dr. David John. Section 5 is stage 2. So you don't know what I'm going to talk about. Stage 2, number 5. And then concluding remark. All right, preliminary remark. These are the non-technical talks I have given here in the past several years. As I say, there's one on what I learned about leadership. And in 2015, classical music appreciation for engineers. And then last 2 years ago is about you better have some interest to do meaningful retirement life. Falling there. Okay. This is the proof that I have worked under all 3 people. There's Charles Go here, and that is yours truly, me. That's Professor Jifan. That's me. That's Batung. Batung is here. And this is Dr. John, the first director of John of City Polytechnic. And that's where's me? Oh, here's me. So just to prove, I did work under 3 of the pioneers. Okay, now the first remark let the child go in 1971. I was teaching at the Catholic University of America in Washington, D.C. at that time. Charles' younger brother, Timothy, was a colleague in the department. Early in 1971, Timothy told me that his brother, Charles, founded a department of electronics in United College, CUSK, in 1970. It turns out at that time I was thinking of returning to Hong Kong to be close to my parents, advancing in age. So I wrote to Charles and saying that I am interested in joining his department and asked whether we can discuss the possibility when I visit Hong Kong that summer in 1971. So Charles' response was encouraging. When I arrived in Hong Kong that summer, he arranged a meeting over dim sum, in a restaurant somewhere in Hong Kong, I don't remember. He brought with him 3 faculty of the Department of Electronics to the dim sum meeting. That is Dr. C.C. Zhang Xusei, Professor Nam Yat-Wah, and Mr. Thomas Choi, the 3 faculty in the department at that time. So Charles asked me in that dim sum meeting whether I want to return to Hong Kong, and I replied in the affirmative. He told me that there's not much to see in the department because the department was housed in a section of a high-rise building in Yin Hong, King Road, and nothing to see there, he said. But Chinese University of Hong Kong, of which United College is part of, will move to a gorgeous campus in Ma Liu Shui, about 10 miles north of Shatin. So the conversation went well. And then in April, let me see the dates. In April 1972, in May, I received a letter from the registrar of United College saying that I was offered the position of lecturer in electronics, and I was to assume duty in August 1972. Before I responded, Charles wrote me a handwritten letter in which he stated that he thought the offer from United College was too low for my qualifications and achievement. He made the unusual suggestion that I should bargain with the university officials for a higher salary. Now, later I found out that the external assessor at that time, Professor Alex Cullen of University College London, strongly supported Charles' push for a higher salary, but to no avail. These bureaucrats, they just can't a number of years to get your PhD or something. So never pay attention to what you have accomplished. But anyway, I accepted the offer, but I request the position may not be there, a year later. So I took my chance, and it turns out the plan worked well. And I came to Chinese University of Hong Kong in the bachelor's new campus in Mariu Shui in July or August 1973, and I stayed there until 1984 for 11 years. But see, okay, now I would describe the contribution of Charles to electronic engineering education in the following way. Of course, he founded the Department of Electronics, and he named it the Department of Electronics in response to the rapid development of the electronic industry around that time. Okay, so I think I have described most of this. Okay. Now, he assembled a group of talented young faculty educated in the first-rate universities around the globe. Among these universities were MIT, Caltech, Stanford, Cornell in the United States, and then Manchester, Birmingham, and another university in the UK. I'm not too familiar with the university in UK, but the top universities. So, and then also Sydney, Australia. So a group of young faculty, all educated in these top branded schools. Let's see. I guess I then in 1975, I believe, the department instituted a work-study program. Professor Ching, you still have a work-study program.
They still have
a work-study program. Students spend a year in industry, so it's 5 years. Right. And the idea of the work-study program actually came from Jesh Tahir. Jesh did not have a university degree when he was hired. And Charles had the foresight and appreciation that it is important to have not only academic experience, but also industrial experience on the faculty. So, Jesh Tahiri, he was the one who initiated the work-study program. He later did get a PhD from the University of Hong Kong. Yeah, that's right, University of Hong Kong. And there was the requirement of an undergraduate project in the senior year, which encouraged creativity. In fact, an example of creativity was that in my last 4 years at CUHK, 8 journal papers were published by my project students. 8 journal papers. So that is one very important element in the curriculum. Now, although Charles was not the department head when the degree was accredited by IEE of London, I think in 1982 or around the time, there was no doubt that the foundation he laid and later as Director of Engineering of ITT. Also became what they call executive scientist, supposed to be a higher level in the technical ladder in that company. But he was called back to the Chinese University of Hong Kong as Vice Chancellor. That's equivalent to the principal, to the president of a university in the United States. So he was called back to serve as Vice Chancellor in 1987. He served in that capacity for 10 years. And as Vice Chancellor, he strongly supported the expansion of the Department of Electronics. This is showing the campus where CUHD was located back in 1963. There was nothing there. And then 1958, and this is the Science Center. The Department of Electronics was housed in the Science Center because there was no faculty of engineering at that time. That must be what I need for life. When I was young, in my office, and that is my good friend and colleague, yes, I really, who actually had the idea of the work study program. Yes, and I collaborated in research on maintenance later on. Oh, I think I went through this already. I went through all of these. Oh, his reputation in research motivated the faculty also to regard research as a primary function, not just teaching. And when he got the Nobel Prize in 2009, I think, the department's reputation was indirectly enhanced. So let's meet the child. Let's think, where is the Ping-pong?
Well, I was in the U.S. at that time.
And you work with Ping-pong?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's Ping-pong. He was the only IEEE fellow in the department at that time. Now there are tons of them. In fact, in Hong Kong at that time, there was Professor Lam San Yu of Hong Kong U and Chen Jingkei Chinese U. That's it. Now, how much do you all? 60 or 100? I lost count.
About
100. From 1 to 100. So these are the cards when he left, after he left Chinese U, came 功課會談，高分教授，主席經行政總裁。So then the English, one side of the card. I still have that card. I don't know why he gave me that card. How many people want that card? Nobody. That's why I can talk. Now, that's when he was at TransTech. He was CEO or whatever. And one time, when I took or something like that, we had a reunion. Then ideally, his wife, Elizabeth, Professor Cambridge.
William Gabriel.
Cambridge. near the Polo Harbor, the Hong Kong Science Park. There's an auditorium in honor of Charles Cole. Let's see. One day I got up and received an email from Go Baizhong, my former graduate of Chinese U, and also from Professor Rook, I believe, say this is September 23rd, 2018. When I got out, I found two emails saying that Charles passed away that day in Hong Kong. On the CUHK website, there was a page for condolence messages. I put down the following words, attaching photos taken when we visited him in his Connecticut home on August 9, 1987. The tribute says the following. Thanks to Professor Charles Cole, that's me, I was able to spend 11 happy years as a faculty member in the Department of Electronics from 1973 to 1984. A great scientist, a great educator, and a kind human being. That was my tribute. And then I show you the photo taken at Huntingville in his home shortly after he received the Nobel Prize. So that is my recollection of and his contributions to the electronic education in Hong Kong. The second pathbreaker is Professor Chen Jifa. The left photo is when he was at Butler University in China. He graduated from Butler University, and then he got his PhD from Cambridge. This obviously this when he was a Chinese student. Professor Chen Jifa is a very famous Chinese writer of Chinese essays. Students in Taiwan, high school students in Taiwan, study Chen Jifa Sanma. Actually, in Hong Kong too. My wife, he can attest to that. He studied high school in Taiwan, and then he knows about Chen Jifa's essays. So these are collected works of Chen Jifa. The left-hand side is Sanman. The right-hand side is his book on control system. So in EE is a control system expert. But I think it's fair to say his fame as an essayist overshadowed his fame as a control system expert. Oh, it shows examples of his Chinese calligraphy. Actually, our names are there. This is his book, one of his books, I guess. So I'm not taking what they. Oh, so what are different? Okay, different contribution. He is very active in research, so that motivates the faculty also to regard research as a prime activity, and as a result, the university actually had electronic engine, I think established the PhD program. It is also the department also graduated the first PhD, and the first PhD is Hong Kong, supervised by Professor Chen. The second PhD, second PhD followed quite quickly, also supervised by Professor Chen. His management style, that's it, that's his management style. He articulated this style in a letter to me. I was in the U.S. already. By the way, he was recruited to the Chinese show in 1977. Charles left, Professor Walter Lam served as acting chairman for a few years. Then in 1977, Professor Chen was hired. He was a professor at the University of Houston at that time. Anyway, this Mo Wei-Ji is his philosophy of administration. So he articulated this when I already was in the U.S. I just became the department chair of the University of Toledo at that time, and he feels he should give me some advice how to be a leader, okay? So Mo Wei-Ji. Now, you can think of it in a positive way or negative way. Negative way means you don't do anything. But the positive way means you don't interfere with the faculty. Let everyone develop their strengths. And in fact, you leave people alone. In fact, as a result of that, the research productivity of the department actually both in quantity and in quality increased under Professor Chen's chairmanship. And that is why electronic engineering was the first program of CUHK to have a PhD program. And then the first PhD program produced by CUHK. So, Mo Wei-Ji, okay? Henry management style. The same style encouraged the faculty because he didn't micromanage, let the faculty develop their strength. So he encouraged the faculty to have strong interaction with industry, modeling the practice of top-rate engineering schools in the United States, like MIT or Stanford. In fact, the three faculty members, Yuan Xu-Sheng, Rob Liu, and James Lee, they established a very successful company.
Veritonics.
So, Liberty Space Devices, is very devices, I guess, changing or something. Okay, so management style encourage faculty to continue research activity, motivated the faculty to research at high activity. He degree accredited by IE in London in 1982, as I say, some pretty much go to Charles Bowles, who later Foundation. Professor Chen was a prime example of a scholar who straddled the two and engineering. Yeah, this is electronic century. And some of his letters were written in the traditional robust Chinese writing style. So this is an example of that. Now, this letter, the last sentence, you probably cannot read it, but it's interesting because he said, I still 我仍想念香港，主要是我吃活魚也。And it's not surprising because his name actually implies this red G fast in Mandarin. Too fast. In Mandarin, like G fast pronounced like G fast. So his name already indicated it's very formal, it's good food, and it shows up in his letter. Do you see all Okay. Now, Professor Chen, as I said, has famous essays, and he has some quotes which are very famous. Maybe I'll read certain two from the essay 節目的話來。人生中的事是最得意的人，有個英雄的叱咤，有個成功的樹力，有個走的順香泥嘅，有個色的鬥利，而全像上色的燭光，搖人在子夜的西風中，最終埋沒在無法。Fantastic. Another sentence from Jacob because he said two lovers. Each one says, I love you forever. So he said, what is forever? 永遠不朽的只有風聲、水聲與無限的折磨。That's from 節目的話來。Okay, so we give you a flavor of his essays. Any of you read his essays? No one. No. One. So the rest of you, if you find these two sentences profound, you better read the correcting essay that I showed in the earlier slide. All right. Well, who is this? Okay. I would not do justice to Professor Jiva if I don't also mention his humorous side. So an example of this is the following. When shortly after he joined CUHK, my wife and I invited him to dinner in our apartment or flat at Chinese University of Hong Kong campus, where we both lived in the residences. I think it's November 1977. And my second son, Stephen, was 2 years old. This is a little later. And when Professor Chen saw Stephen, he thought he was handsome. And he told my wife, he said, he should be a movie star when he grew up. Fortunately or unfortunately, Stephen did not follow the advice. He became a computer engineer. And even now, I ask Stephen, did you regret not picking up Professor Chen's advice to be a movie star? I don't remember what he said. But I reminded Stephen, it is never too late. So that is my son, right? My second son, Stephen. And as I said, I just want to show Professor Chen is not all serious about the stuff. He also is a humorous guy. Okay, after both of UHK, we did meet shows some of three of Bond's books with poetic titles. 水落花正，為被似的香愁，時間小徑 very poetic. And we actually get all the I heard some okay. And Professor Chen died, I think, in Hong Kong. Let's see. On February 25th, 2012, Professor C.F. Chen died in Hong Kong. An article on the CUHK website stated that Professor Chen's death left us with one less speaker who was able to seamlessly fuse science and arts. I received an email from it from Honda asked me to provide a tribute. I sent a brief tribute to Honda. The tribute ends with the following sentence. While the void left by Professor Chen's passing cannot be filled, I feel his presence every time I reread his inspiring writings. So that is now the third guy, Dr. David John, the first director of City Polytechnic of Hong Kong. Hong Kong Polytechnic has been the only polytechnic in Hong Kong for decades. There were several courses of study leading not to a degree, but to a certificate, a higher diploma, or a professional diploma. Then in 1981, in response to the need of the Hong Kong industry, the Hong Kong government wanted to establish a second polytechnic named City Polytechnic of Hong Kong. Dr. David Jones, the senior vice chancellor of Recollections University in the UK, was chosen as the director, the head of the institution, but the formal title is director. He came here in 1983, and several floors in Mong Kok, the Argyle Center, was rented as the temporary campus of City Polytechnic of Hong Kong, while plans were prepared for a permanent campus to be situated in Kowloon Kong. So this is the beginning of City Polytechnic of Hong Kong and Argyle Center, 1984 to 85. This is the cover page of the prospectus. Okay, in the spring of 1983, an advertisement appeared for the founding head of electronic engineering at City Polytechnic. The ad appeared in local newspapers as well as in a few journals in the United States, and it thinking outside the box. Thinking outside the box, as described below. There were 4 shortlisted candidates for the founding head of the electronic engineering department. 4 shortlisted candidates. 2 were from Hong Kong Polytechnic. They were senior people in Hong Kong Polytechnic. They get their degree, a PhD from Cambridge University, and have been in Hong Kong for a long time. They would have no trouble designing the curriculum, like the certificate, higher diploma, professional diploma for the new polytechnic. The 3rd candidate, they fly from London, University College London, also British, so 3 British. The 4th one was yours truly, that's me. So 4 shortlisted candidates. My experience had been in universities in the United States and in Hong Kong, at Chinese University of Hong Kong. I was research oriented. As a theoretician, I have absolutely no idea of what the curricular technique, like the certificate or higher diploma, professional course. I have no knowledge what that is about. Okay, so my background cannot be qualified for that position. Nevertheless, Dr. John, who chaired the search committee, which consists of himself as chairman, 2 associate directors, all British, and then Thomas Wu, who is the head of the human resources, and then the external assessor, Professor Chen Yu-zhong from the University of Hong Kong. So that is the search committee. So I was invited to interview together with the other 3 candidates. As I say, my experience cannot be more incompatible with what is required for establishing a new department in the Polytechnic. Nevertheless, Dr. John chose me rather than the other candidate as the position. So I joked with my friends. I said, I must have convinced the committee, and Dr. Jones in particular, that someone who spoke English with a Cantonese accent is more suitable than someone who speaks English with a Cambridge accent, a London accent. Okay? That's the only explanation I can think of. But it does illustrate Dr. John's ability to think outside the box instead of adhering what traditionally is required for polytechnic. He just hired someone like me. Okay. So as I say, two high-ranking faculty in polytechnic, they should have no problem designing the curriculum. So I was hired, and at that time it was announced that Hong Kong will return to China in 1997. So there was an exodus of talent from Hong Kong. The not easy to recruit people. Now, when I went to City Poly in 1984, the department of electronic engineering consists of a cubicle of panels, four removable panels. That's the department, and I was the operator of that cubicle. A couple of months later, it expanded into 2 cubicles. And my secretary, Allison, you know Allison occupied the 2nd cubicle. So that was the department of electronic engineering in 1984. As I say, the local newspaper was single level. 非常話已經教育流失嚴重。Nevertheless, I was able to, in the next six months, I was able to assemble several talented faculty members. The first one is Professor Yong Kai-Ling, K.M. Yong, who was a senior lecturer from Hong Kong Polytechnic, hiring as principal lecturer. He was very capable. He helped me a lot in designing the curriculum and also designing the labs and ordering equipment. So that's exciting. I hired Professor K.M. Yong. He just was about to get a PhD from Hong Kong U. And when he did his master's thesis, it was so outstanding that the external assessor, Professor Cullen of the University College, the Hong Kong U people, that Professor should be awarded a PhD instead of a master's degree with some extra work, right?
No extra work.
No extra work. So the guy who expect a master's degree got a PhD. So that's Professor Book. And the second guy I hired. So that is the early days of the department. And then in 85 to 86, this is the second prospectus of City Poly. That's the front cover. And inside, I wrote a introduction to the department. So that fellow must be me, right? Is this fellow by me? And then my office is no longer a cubicle. I have a very decent office with big desks, standard furniture, and then windows that I can have a nice view of Hong Kong. So that is 1 year later. Okay. The ED department in July 1985, that's 1 year after I took the job. And, here is Professor Rob. Who is this? Is it Santoke? Santoke. Oh, well. Who is this? Oh, this is little you. He's not here. Okay. Allison, that's the first second. Sandra, she's probably administrative assistant, something like that. That's me, I think. Right. And then this was taken in a department. This one was taken in a restaurant, a Maple Point. Must be in a restaurant. this might be done. KMO 你中意 I forgot I中意那个 everybody. Okay, so that is July 1985. Then I told Dr. John I'm going to leave. And when Professor came aboard in June, I told Professor, he asked whether there's any research problem for him to do. So I assigned him a research problem, and then I said I'm leaving next week.
Next month.
Next month. I feel so bad, but what can I do? It's 1997, and I have to worry about my family, my children's education, and all that. So 1 year after I served, I told Dr. John, hey, I'm quitting. I expect that you will give me help and become mad at me and say, what are you doing? I hire you as setting up a department and you leave after 1 year. Are you joking us? But to my surprise, he was very generous. He never expressed any, he didn't get mad at all. He just said, I understand your decision. I was just amazed. Okay, so that's what happened. So 1 year, I left. And this is he actually arranged a send-off dinner for me. The farewell dinner, Dr. Young was there, and then his associate director, and maybe some other ministry people, and that's me. Okay, send-off dinner. And then something like a year or so after I left, he wrote me a letter. This is the letter, and there are two. The third paragraph has two sentences. The first sentence says, we are doing fine here. The EE department is going from strength to strength. The second sentence is embarrassing for me to read. So I'm sorry, you can read it yourself. So the third sentence is just what I said. It's going from EE department, continue to grow from strength to strength. You can read the second sentence. It's too embarrassing for me to read. So instead of getting mad at me, you even said whatever it says there. Okay, so that's the job. Okay, the department, what is the standing of the EE department, the city, by the way, city Polytechnic moved to a permanent campus in maybe 1990 or something like that, and then City Polytechnic became City University of Hong Kong in 1994. Today, the EE department, let's look at the world ranking of EE department. This is from US News report, Taiwan University, Shanghai University, research.com, and then there's a Stanford University study about the most cited scientists. So 11 worldwide, don't forget, this is worldwide ranking. Worldwide means there are tons of universities, MIT, Stanford, whatever. So 11 worldwide, 24 worldwide according to US News, 11 worldwide, Taiwan, Shanghai University, 28. So that's the standing of the department. And some major awards received by the faculty. I cannot list everything, like best paper awards and so on. So these are the major, I Circuits and Systems Society Technical Achievement Award, and one North Shanghai Mid-Career Distinguished Award. These people, from Xi Chen, for the contribution of the Mathematics Award, 2019. Who is this guy? The Chen Zhongtai Distinguished Educator Award. Our friend, KMO. And Michael Xi Circuit System Technical Achievement Award. Where is Tan? Is that what they call you? Tan? Mid-career, North Shanghai Mid-career Distinguished Achievement Award. He is now not with CTU, but he is with
South China University.
right, but he was a graduate of CTU EE. So in fact, was his postdoc under the Professor Reform. Okay, 5 John Krause Award recipients at one time or another associated with CTU EE. I guess that must be me. Professor Lok, John Yu, Chan Ji. He was a visiting professor, right? Yeah. So, the John Krause Award has been different for some 25 years or so, and of the 25 recipients, 5 of them come from this department. Our friend, Professor Lok's achievement is particularly outstanding. This is Professor Lok over the years. I know embarrassing.
Thank you.
This is when he was first hired. I assigned him to work on one problem on antenna, and he sits in the office doing all the calculations. He shared the office with Professor Heinrich. This is the first conference he went to in Philadelphia because he got some results on the problems I assigned him to work on. So we got a paper presented in the IEEE APS meeting, International Propagation Society meeting in Philadelphia, and that's the first time he went to IEEE meeting. So that's the young guy there. That's just I don't know who this is. Okay, then fast forward to 2017, we got the John Krause Award for outstanding research in China. Then last year, was it last year or this year? This year, we got the Education Award. I know of no people in all of Asia who get both the research award and the education award. So that's our friend, Professor Kayano. Okay. It's hard not to give Dr. John the credit that thinking outside the box. He set the Department of Electronic Engineering on a path which not only led to excellence in teaching, but also excellence in research. Example of outside the box thinking, I said that already. Hire someone who spoke English with a Cantonese accent, overdose with Cambridge London accent. One who knew nothing about polytechnic derivatives. Emphasizing research as an essential activity or a faculty member, even for the polytechnic. A large share of the credit, of course, goes to the early department heads and the faculty members, particularly the 3 Ks. represent the department because you know him better than I do. So I went to the Niger. When Dr. John and I met, Dr. John said, when I looked at the list of names coming to the Niger, I saw your name. I thought you had never left City College. So we took a picture after his talk. So that's Dr. John, that's Jim Fong, and myself. And on learning that I lived in San Jose since retirement, Dr. John expressed an interest of looking me up in visiting California and looking up in San Jose. Unfortunately, he died before he can do that. So my wish of showing him around in California never materialized. So that's Dr. John. Summary, CUHK and CUE departments are major contributors of talent to Hong Kong electronic industry. These are a few names showing the leadership positions some of the graduates in Hong Kong industry universities. 李偉邦、周金珍、胡志波、梁俊傑 There are others, but I just picked two from CUHK and two from CPU. They are either CEOs or chief and CTOs or founders. So just to show the contributions of the two departments. Oh, as I said, there is a story of my people. Alias or alias. My name is Kai Fong. It's different from my father's. I never know what it means for many years. And then one year, I forgot the year, I went to Tsinghua. The EE gave me a name tag. The electronic engineer in Tsinghua University, they all Fong. What happened is, all they got is my name on the passport, which is Li Kai Fong. So they translate into Chinese, instead of Li Kai Fong, it's Li Kai Fong. So I was initially annoyed. But then a friend in the same visiting team told me, that's a good name. Hoi means triumph. So a few months later, I visited Chinese University and CPU, the two departments. I told some of my friends, I said, I'm thinking of adopting Hong Kong as my people, alias. So many of the friends said, that's a good idea. Okay. In particular, my friend Jin Ba-zhong stand up. He used the initials of my name and my alias and composed the following. Khai Phạc Thọ Chí, Chi Hơn Xây Phong, Khai Phong Thánh. My alias, Hoi Xun Yiu of Gong, Jin Xin Tong Ba Fong. For his masterful interpretation of my name and my alias, I'm forever grateful to Professor Chin. And he solved the mystery